Great subject I want to talk about today is making sure you pick the right mixing and mastering engineer. This is a very important step in your music making process. Picking the wrong engineer can be catastrophic and can really cause your song or music to come across the wrong way. It is possible to write great music, have the right beat, have the right sounds, have the right techniques, but then pass that song or those songs off to your engineer and they don't mix it in a way that will really cause your music to come across in a very powerful way. And of course this changes depending on the genre, depending on what genre it is. Among the mixing and mastering community, one of the techniques or things that they do is that when you send in music, they usually ask for a reference. All right, the song may not come out exactly the way that the other song has been mixed, but it is a reference for different things. How you want the drums to sound, how do you want the bass to sound, how do you want the top end to sound or the bottom end to sound of the spectrum, or the mids, how do you want certain things to happen. They need a reference. And so this is very, very important to make sure you have references, but you send that into them and they go according to what you gave them. And prayerfully, they are able to take that reference and really shape your music in such a way that it comes across the way you want it to come across, depending on the genre. Yes, I mix and master too. That's why I have some knowledge in this particular area, and so I wanted to get people hip. I've heard songs in the past that were good songs, but the mixing was kind of weird. The mixing didn't really bring the song across the way that it should. Sometimes the drums needed to be up. Sometimes it was too much bass. There wasn't enough mids. I'm talking about as far as the overall song, right? Not just mids as far as vocal, but mids as far as the song itself. This is a very tedious process, and people who know what they're doing can use only a certain number of plugins to really get your song across the way that you want it to be. And this takes time. And so, as far as that is concerned, that's a whole nother ear skill. Of course, you have, ear training as far as both music itself, recognizing chords and scales and intervals, but then you have ear training that pertains to mixing and mastering. All right, it's a whole nother skill, and it's tedious. And it's your environment has to be a certain way. Now they have tools online that you can get, plugins online that you can get it where you can use headphones and you can mix through that. Still, but you need to have the skills to know what to look for and how to make that happen. But my overall point here is to make sure that if you're mixing it yourself, or you're sending it to get mixed, make sure you have a reference and make sure that you are vocal about what it is that you want. Before I got serious into mixing, I would get my music back and it would just be a few tweaks, because the guy that I used in the past was very good. Just a few tweaks. I may wanted my vocals to be up in a certain place, or I may wanted something to be turned down, which in that case, you start really leaning upon automation as far as volume is concerned. If anyone listening or watching mixes and masters, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so it's very, very important that you have these tools and that you have an understanding, and that they have an understanding as to what you want. So don't be afraid to send music back and to have them tweak different things. I know sometimes they have a certain amount of times you can send music back to have certain things changed, but don't be afraid of that, because ultimately you want your project to come across the way you want it to come across. All right, and you want people to really be amazed and impressed by what you have produced. There's a lot of great sounds that we use, a lot of amazing things, a lot of amazing vocal arrangements and things that you have in your song. You want people to be able to hear that, so you have to make sure you have your engineer, again, just understand the full process, somebody that's seasoned, the spectrum and all that kind of stuff. It's important to have understanding, or it's also important to have understanding even if you're not mixing it, but have some level of understanding so that you can communicate and use the language to communicate to them what you want in your song as you are mixing and mastering. One of the projects, recent projects that I am listening to, it's a live recording, but Transformation Church came out with their Overflow record, and when I tell you that it's mixed to perfection, it is absolutely amazing. So I encourage you to go and check that out. Maybe I'll do another video giving you a list of songs to go listen to for mixing purposes, and to listen to, you know, how these songs were mixed amazingly. It is so important. So don't be afraid, send your music in, know what you want, have a reference, and don't be afraid to send music back to have things tweaked, because it is your music and you want it to come across a certain way. All right, I want to thank you so much for checking us out. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you're not having a wonderful day, you can change that by your mindset. Thanks so much. Tony King out.